Mandatory vaccines? Is it a real thing? Could it happen? Maybe. You're going to find out sooner or later. And that's our hook. Guys, welcome to another episode of the Paranormal Past Podcast. I'm your host, Josh, and Dalton is far and away still doing a bunch of investigations with the paranormal, and he's actually sent me some stuff that looks really cool, so I'm excited to see what he comes up with when he comes back. But today I want to talk to you about the idea of mandatory vaccines because of the COVID-19 pandemic scare, whatever you want to call it. But how long is it before the pandemic leads us into a forced mandatory vaccine? There had been false conspiracy theories running around during all of this that a mandatory vaccination was on the horizon. It was shut down by the mainstream media, but how many conspiracy theories have been shut down before that later became true? One example is during Prohibition. The government poisoned alcohol. The idea that the conspiracy theory was that the government poisoned alcohol to keep people from drinking. It was thought to be a fantasy. But manufacturers of industrial alcohol had been mixing their product with dangerous chemicals for years prior to Prohibition. But between 1926 and 1933, the federal government pushed manufacturers to use stronger poisons to discourage bootleggers from turning the alcohol into moonshine. Or there's the one about the CIA that was testing LSD and other hallucinogenic drugs on Americans in a top secret experiment on behavior modification, which we thought was all a conspiracy. But later, it turned out to be true. The program was called MK Ultra, and that was its real name. The CIA started by using volunteers. The novelist Ken Kersey was one notable subject, but the program heads soon began dosing people without their knowledge. MK Ultra was actually used to sit there and dose people to try to modify their behavior. Again, don't pay attention to what they're saying. Pay attention to what they're doing. If they have done it before, they certainly will not let this COVID crisis go to waste, right? I mean, if they can start saying that we have come up with a mandatory vaccine, and there are those out there who consider themselves anti-vaxxers, which they have the right to do and say, because we live in a wonderful country where we can say no to something if we really don't. But what happens if they do start rolling out a mandatory vaccine? Would you take it, number one? Or two, would it be required by the government for everyone to take it? Would kids have to take it? Would it be part of the first shots they get? Could you say no to it? And if you decide to say that you don't want to take this vaccine, are you then issued a non-health certificate? And if you do take it, are you then issued a health certificate? So are you going to have groups of vaccinated versus the non-vaccinated? Would people be allowed to then shop at all these places if they're vaccinated or not? That is a scary place to be, because I have this feeling that they are going to try to force some sort of vaccine on us. And right now, there's claims that can't happen. It won't be real. Even the fact checkers out there might try to shut me down because they say nothing like that could ever happen. I can't believe you would think that way until it does. I don't know. It's another scary place for all of us to be. We know that the government has done things before telling us that we were crazy for thinking that things they were doing weren't going on, but actually were. So were we crazy or not? I don't know. I just do have this feeling that something's coming down the road, and it's not quite what we want, because there's those who want to change everything that we understand right now, and a mandatory vaccine would be one of the easiest ways to get us to try to pit groups against each other, break apart that cultural group of America that we have. They would. It's just too easy of a crisis to let slip by. Remember, you never let a good crisis go to waste, and you all know who said that. Those of you who at least pay attention to this stuff. Well, I'm still scared about all the stuff they're trying to cram down our throats. But until next time, this has been your episode, another episode of the Paranormal Past Podcast. I'm Josh saying, remember to ring that bell, like the things that they do. If you have comments, concerns, put them in the comments below, because without you guys, this show doesn't continue on. I'm Josh, the Paranormal Past Podcast, saying have a great day. Remember, pay attention to what they're doing, not what they're saying. And we will see you soon.